Being a dual type as opposed to a monotype is almost always better, as it gives you stab on another type, making your offense stronger. The majority of relevant Pokemon in the competitive scene are dual types that are able to take advantage of two stabs, and not having that generally puts you at a disadvantage. Monotype Pokemon can absolutely still work though if they have the right tools, so in this video, I thought it would be fun to pick out the best monotype Pokemon for every type in competitive doubles, discussing how they're able to thrive even with limited offenses. I've decided to exclude restricted legendaries, mythicals, and mega evolutions, so only Pokemon that you'd see in a Reg F-like format. And no, we can't just say terastallized Incineroar for every type. First up for Fire, we have Torkoal. If I were to make this pick before Gen 7, it would definitely be Arcanine, but due to Torkoal getting Drought and the introduction of Incineroar, Torkoal is the best mono fire type in the game. What makes it so threatening is the combination of Harsh Sunlight and Eruption, one of the strongest spread moves in the game. With additional damage boosts in the form of the Charcoal item, Terra Fire, or Helping Hand, Torkoal's Eruptions hit insanely hard, even with its low base 85 special attack. If it doesn't have max HP to make full use of Eruption, it has every other good fire type move you could ever need, like Heat Wave, Flamethrower, Overheat, and Lava Plume. Since it's used to set Sun and just wants to spam Sun boosted fire moves, and since Fire is a pretty solid offensive and defensive typing, it's totally fine as just a mono fire type. For Water, we have Dondozo. With the help of its commander Tatsugiri, Dondozo has managed to stay relevant in every Scarlet and Violet VGC regulation, from the low power level ones like Reg H to the high power level ones like Reg I. Mono Water is a good defensive typing, and with a +2 Omni boost that can be activated on switch-in, combined with a signature move that can increase one of its stats after every use, it doesn't really need to rely on stab as much, since those boosts will make it hit hard enough with Earthquake. It does still regularly use Wave Crash, which it's able to use effectively due to its high HP that makes the recoil not as much of an issue, especially not after a few rounds of Leftovers recovery, its go-to item. With Body Press as an option as well, and unaware to ensure that it ignores opposing stat boosts, Dondozo thrives in competitive doubles, but I can definitely see its viability going down if it's put in a Champions format that doesn't have Tatsugiri. For Grass, we have Rillaboom. This one wasn't close, and it's not that the competition is bad, since Grass has some solid monotypes like Ogerpon Teal Mask, Superior, and Zarina, but Rillaboom is just so far ahead of them. Like Torkoal, it sets a field condition that boosts the power of its monotyped moves, with Grassy Glide in particular being especially good on Rillaboom since it will always have priority as long as its terrain is set up. With Fake Out for priority as well, Wood Hammer to deal big damage, U-Turn to reset both terrain and Fake Out, and High Horsepower as a ground coverage option that doesn't have its damage weakened in grassy terrain, Rillaboom is easily the best mono grass type Pokemon, and just one of the best Pokemon in VGC in general. For Electric, we have Regieleki. We have yet another Pokemon with an ability that boosts the power of its mono-typed moves, but this time it's more direct and not reliant on a field condition that can run out or be overridden. This also means that it doesn't affect your ally, so it's not really used as part of a team archetype like Weather and Terrain. The modifier was also nerfed from 50% to 30%, but it's still a solid mon with its 200 base speed, making it decent for speed control with Electro Web. I only say decent because it's mostly outclassed by Fluttermane now, which can get higher speed than Regieleki after a Photosynthesis boost, and uses Icy Wind, which no type is immune to, but Mono Electric isn't a super competitive type, so Regieleki is probably still the best. You can make an argument for Electabuzz as well, with it being a great counter to Sneasler and Reg H. For Psychic, we have Cresselia. The first almost exclusively defensive Pokemon on this list, and one of the benefits of being a defensive monotype is that you're guaranteed to have at most 5 weaknesses with no 4 times weaknesses. Psychic also just has a bunch of really good status moves like both screens, ally switch, skill swap, trick, with the most notable ones probably being Trick Room and Cresselia's signature move, Lunar Blessing. So without any 4x weaknesses and some of the best defensive stats in the game, it's very difficult to one-shot it. Due to its ability that gives it a ground immunity, Cresselia pairs great with an earthquaking ally. It's definitely fallen off a bit in recent formats due to more dark and ghost types being around, and Gothitelle would probably be the next runner-up with its Shadow Tag ability allowing for Perish Trap strategies. For Ice, we have Glastrier, one of the least competitive monotypes, with the other options being Regice, Cetitan, and Galarian Darmanitan. If Galarian Darmanitan was in Scarlet and Violet, it may have proved itself enough to take the top spot over Glastrier, and if this were singles, then it definitely would, but due to Glastrier having results in Sword and Shield and some in Scarlet and Violet, I think it just earns the top spot. It's overall just a diet Calyrex Ice Rider, since it only has one ability, has lower stats all around, doesn't learn Trick Room, and doesn't learn Glacial Lance, but since Calyrex Ice is so good, a diet version of it is still decent. A Reg G team it was on saw some results, with it using Icicle Crash for stab and Iron Defense Body Press for extra coverage. For Dragon, we have Regidrago. This is the second and unfortunately last Regi to appear on this list, and like Regieleki, Regidrago has an ability that increases the power of its mono-typed moves. Unlike Regieleki, Regidrago was able to keep the original 50% modifier, and due to it also getting a way better signature move with Dragon Energy, it's generally considered to be more viable than its electric-type brother in Gen 9. It can do a pretty similar thing to Torkoal, since Dragon Energy is just Dragon-type Eruption, but with Regidrago having 80 speed, it can actually work on a fast set with either a Choice Scarf or an ally with Tailwind. It also has the very solid coverage option of Earth Power, unlike Regieleki that basically has nothing. For Dark, we have Umbreon. Like Cresselia for Mono Psychic, this is another defense-oriented monotype with the same number of weaknesses at 3 and the same number of resistances at 2, but Dark has the important Psychic immunity that allows it to wall Expanding Force users. Due to its high special defense, it's a great wall against Calyrex Shadow and can deal high damage to Calyrex Ice with Stab Foul Play. It also gets great supporting and disrupting moves like Taunt, Snarl, Yawn, Helping Hand, and Moonlight. Next best mono dark type would probably be Alolan Persian, with it getting a fantastic ability in Fur Coat and similar supporting moves to Umbreon like Taunt, Snarl, and Helping Hand, but some different moves as well like Fake Out and Parting Shot. For Fairy, we have Clefairy. I almost went with Sylveon, and I could see an argument for it over Clefairy, but I just felt that the support Clefairy provides with Follow Me and Friend Guard remains nearly unmatched, while Sylveon now has Fluttermane to compete with. I guess there is Mousehold with Follow Me and Friend Guard, but Clefairy is generally still preferred in high power level formats since it has actual resistances and is bulkier with the Eviolite. In addition to Follow Me, Clefairy has an amazing supporting move pool with things like Encore, Thunder Wave, After You, Charm, Fake Tears, Gravity, Helping Hand, Heal Pulse, Life Dew, Knockoff, and Icy Wind. Its only downsides are that it's almost completely useless if it gets taunted, which it can't prevent with a Mental Herb since it needs to hold the Eviolite unless you're willing to sacrifice those defenses to not get taunted. For normal, we have Porygon 2. We have our second not fully evolved Pokemon in a row, with Porygon 2 being one of the best, if not the best user of the Eviolite. This one was really close between Porygon 2 and Smeargle, with Porygon 2 being more consistent, but Smeargle having higher peaks. I'm always going to pick the more consistent one between the two in cases like these, the same reason that I'd pick Flamethrower over Fire Blast. While Mono Normal is not a good typing at all, and actually one of the worst monotypes you can be, Porygon 2 makes up for that with its fantastic coverage options like Thunderbolt and Ice Beam, and its great ability of Download. It's one of the bulkiest Trick Room setters and can heal itself with Recover, making it threatening both offensively and defensively. For fighting, we have Hitmontop. Hariyama was the next runner-up, and both it and Hitmontop have been almost completely outclassed by Iron Hands and Incineroar respectively. While they both have Intimidate and Fake Out, Hitmontop does still have a few tools that Incineroar doesn't that gives it a niche in recent formats. Wide Guard is great to protect from spread moves, which become more common in restricted formats. Feint can break opposing Wide Guard. Upper Hand can counter opposing Fake Out as long as Hitmontop is fast enough, and same with Quick Guard. Coaching can set up physical attacking partners nicely, and it gets a bunch of priority attacks in addition to Fake Out, Feint, and Upper Hand with Sucker Punch, Mach Punch, Bullet Punch, Quick Attack, and Vacuum Wave. For flying, we have Tornadus Incarnate. This was by far the freest pick ever, since Tornadus is literally the only fully evolved mono flying type in the game other than Skyplate Arceus, which is a mythical, and Flying Memory Silvally, which I technically wasn't excluding because it wouldn't win any of the top picks anyway. Tornadus is a top 2 priority Tailwind setter since Whimsicott has a case for being the best, but what Tornadus is undeniably the best at is manual weather setting, with it being the only prankster Pokemon in the game to get all 4 weather setting moves. In rain, its signature move Bleak Wind Storm becomes perfectly accurate, allowing it to deal good damage with its high 125 special attack stat, so it's not just a Tailwind bot. For poison, we have Cantonian Wheezing. Galarian Wheezing is generally preferred on neutralizing gas teams because you have the same number of resistances but gain a dragon immunity and better offenses with some fairy attacks at the low cost of a new steel weakness. If you're worried about a steel weakness and possibly value a poison resistance over a dark resistance, then Mono Poison Cantonian Wheezing is still good, with both forms getting poison moves such as Sludge Bomb, Acid Spray, Toxic, Clear Smog, Toxic Spikes, and Poison Gas. Other supporting moves it gets are Will-O-Wisp, Taunt, Pain Split, Memento, and Haze, which can all really cripple your opponent after they're already being crippled from not having their ability. For ground, we have Mudsdale. I was surprised to see just how bad the selection of mono ground types was, since we're excluding Groudon, with the other options being Sandslash, Dugtrio, Cantonian Marowak, Donphan, Hippowdon, and Sandaconda. Mudsdale was the only one with multiple decent results in the last 6 years, so it gets the top pick. The results that it did have were almost entirely Gen 7, with it basically being a cross between Ursaluna and Archaludon, which are the 2 Pokemon that outclass it in Gen 9. With the Stamina ability to boost its physical defense and an Assault Vest to boost its special defense, it can stay on the field for a long time and dish out pretty strong attacks like High Horsepower and Heavy Slam. Second pick would probably be Cantonian Marowak, since it saw 2 top placements at the World Championships, one in 2013 and one in 2017, but that was it for its results. For Rock, we have Garganacl. This is one of the only Pokemon on this list that was glad that it didn't gain another type at any point throughout its evolutionary line, since it guarantees that it doesn't have any 4x weaknesses, something that the majority of Rock dual typings have. It's one of the only good stall mons in VGC due to it effectively being able to inflict indirect damage and chip damage. The set that saw the most success was its Salt Cure Stealth Rock set, which punishes staying in since you'll get chipped by Salt Cure, and punishes switching out since you'll get chipped by Stealth Rock. With Recover to heal back any lost HP, Purifying Salt to make sure that it can't get out-stalled from status condition damage, and Terra Ghost to give it only 1 weakness to Dark since Purifying Salt also grants a Ghost resistance, Garganacl definitely earns its spot as the best mono rock type. For Bug, we have Excelgor. I thought the mono ground type selection was bad, but mono bug definitely takes the cake. Excelgor saw most of its use in Gen 7 and 8, and its main niche was having the second fastest final gambit behind Ninjask, but it actually has decent enough HP at 80 to make better use of it, whereas Ninjask only has 61. Excelgor can also boost its already high 145 speed even more with its ability Unburden that can be activated on switch-in with a Terrain Seed, allowing it to invest its stats elsewhere. Along with Final Gambit, it also commonly used Encore and Acid Spray to be a disruptive supporter that can boost its special attacking allies' damage output that was still able to go first without needing Prankster, so it didn't have to worry about any priority blockers. For Ghost, we have Dusclops, our third and final not fully evolved Pokemon, and like Porygon 2, it's commonly used as a Trick Room setter. As a Ghost type, it has a natural immunity to Fake Out, and thanks to the Eviolite, it's one of the bulkiest Ghost types with Trick Room. It has pretty similar moves to Weezing, with things like Pain Split, Haze, and Will-O-Wisp, but Dusclops also gets things like Helping Hand, Disable, Gravity, Shadow Sneak, and Curse, with Nightshade being its main consistent damaging move. It doesn't have great ability options though, and it has a similar problem to Clefairy, where it gets almost completely shut down by Taunt since it can't hold a Mental Herb if it's already holding the Eviolite. If you have ways of preventing that, like your own Taunt or priority blockers that block Prankster taunts, then it's one of the most reliable Trick Room setters in the game. Finally, for Steel, we have Orthworm. Even as niche as it is, Orthworm has still seen better results in one generation than Registeel has in 7 for competitive doubles. It has 2 main draws in addition to its Mono Steel typing, which is one of the best monotypes you can be, the move Shedtail and its signature ability Earth Eater. Shedtail is one of the most broken status moves if you get it off, as it passes a substitute to your ally at the cost of half the user's max HP. With a Citrus Berry to ensure that you get the move off, and its low speed allowing it to better be used last, it can pretty consistently pass a substitute to an ally safely. Earth Eater is also an amazing ability on it, as it turns its ground weakness into an immunity that also heals it for 25% of its max HP, which combos well with Shedtail as it allows you to heal back that lost HP, possibly even allowing for a second Shedtail. And that's the best Monotype Pokemon for every type in competitive doubles. Let me know if you disagree with any of my picks and what you would have picked for singles. Anyway, if you want to support me and my channel, just leave a nice comment. If you want to take it a step further, you can become a member for 99 US cents a month to get a badge next to your name and early video access like all of these lovely people. If you want bonus content, check out my second channel Extra Bell, where I post videos I've scrapped from the main channel, as well as more casual, unscripted videos. Likes are also one of the ways that YouTube determines if a video should be passed around to more people, so if you feel that this video deserves to be, I would appreciate it. Thanks for watching.